Welcome to the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast, the podcast where we make 5-minute decisions that can change your business, your relationships, and your life. Hey, this is Dean Soto, founder of prosulam.com and freedomin5minutes.com, and we're here again with another Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast. Today's topic is this. Hey, hold on. You're talking in generalities. That and more coming up. Oh, it's been a while. Sorry, it's been a while. Gosh, man, I've been sick. Leave me alone. Yeah, I've been sick the last couple of days. Literally, I had some kind of stomach flu. And man, to the point where at one of those days, I fell asleep at 7 o'clock p.m. and then woke up around noon the next day. And normally I do not do that. So if you hear me coughing like that, just know that I have been not feeling very well. All right, cool. So today's story comes from something that happened this morning. I have a friend who is absolutely amazing. He's the best salesman I've ever met. No joke. He is literally the best salesman I've ever met. And you would never know it because he is the most respectful, the most kind, the most courteous person I know, even in sales, to the point where you don't even realize that you're being sold. That's how it's so cool. And I try to emulate what he does, and not nearly as good as he does it, but he taught me how to sell, and it's been so good ever since I've learned his method of selling. Love him to death. We're really, really good friends. Well, all that being said, plus he's a podcast listener, and so if you're hearing this, you know you're my homie. So this morning, I talked with somebody whom he had referred to me, and normally when he refers a person to my business, if you don't know my business, it's systems and process virtual assistants. They create standard operating procedures and then can basically duplicate you no matter what it might be. All right. They are the best of the best, and we are the only ones who do this. Well, here's the deal, is that he normally is on the calls with people who he has referred to me. And in this particular case, he was not there. And it's not normal for someone who refers to do that, but it's cool because it ups the conversion rate of somebody actually becoming a customer by my conversion rate is normally, I would say, 30%. And it ups it to about 90% when somebody who refers is actually on the phone call, because there's social proof, right? And a couple of other things. One being specificity. They can be specific in what my guys are helping with. So I get on the phone with this guy plus 4 of his staff members, or maybe it was 3 of the staff members. I don't know. Most of them didn't actually talk. But this guy immediately goes into this very confrontational mode. It was immediately goes and says something. He's like, okay, so tell us what you can do for us. Just like that. Tell us what you can do for us. No chit chat, no, hey, how's it going? No, tell me, do you have a family? Things like that. It was just boom. Tell me what you can do for us. And I'm like, okay. Well, normally I ask about your business and what you guys do, and so I get an idea whether you're a good fit anyway, but I'll give you the spiel, and I'll give you the spiel of what I do for your friend and mine. So I go into the spiel and everything and talk about systems and the virtual assistants and how they document everything and so on and so forth. And almost immediately, he's like, well, how do you keep track of their time? How do we know that they're actually going to be doing 40 hours a week? And so I answer that. And then it's, well, what exactly do they do for, our mutual friend? And I try to be as specific as possible, and to the point where he's grilling me as to what is going on with what they're doing for my friend. Where, I mean, specifics that really are super, super specific, you know? And I'm like, okay. Well, finally I start asking questions. I get to start asking questions. And immediately he's trying to evade and ask more questions of me. Almost immediately, trying to evade and ask more questions. And at this point, I'm like, dude, I need to know about what you're doing. I need to know about your business, okay? You can't just, this is not a good situation to be in. Why would I even want to work with you if you're going to do this, right? So I start asking these questions, and he's evading. And finally, I ask a question such as, so the question I actually asked was, well, what do you want them to do specifically in your business? And listen, I said specifically in your business. Like, give me something that you would want them to do. And he goes, oh, well, for example, managing the schedule and ensuring that the contractors are doing what they need to do. Well, and I said, well, yeah, it's an easy one. I said, that's actually really easy. All you would do is do a 5 to 10 minute video showing how you currently do that. They're going to document that. It'll take them about 2 or 3 hours to do that, and then they'll be able to do it from then on. And his retort right after that was, well, how long does it take to train them? And I said, well, I just said that. It'll take about 2 to 3 hours, and then from there, they'll be able to do it forever, right? And so I'm feeling pretty good about that. And immediately he goes and says, right after that specific case study, he responds with, hold on. Unfortunately, this is just too general. You're talking too much in generalities right now. I want to know specifically what they are doing for our mutual friend. I need to know specifics and how it's going to help with our build out and how it's going to help with this. And I said, well, what was... So I started getting a little bit confrontational, not in my nice non-confrontational way, but I said, well, I'm not sure how that's general. And how that's general, I answered your specific question about what you wanted to do, some of the things that you wanted the VA to do. And he said, well, it's just not. I want to know what they're doing for our mutual friend and maybe talk with the VA and so on and so forth. So after a long and the short is he ended up saying, oh, well, let's just schedule a phone call that so-and-so can be on with us. And rather than continue to argue or continue to beat a dead horse, I said, okay, yeah, no problem. I'll do that. And I'll keep you to your word, basically. So right afterward, I sent an email to schedule a time with my friend and them, and sent an audio message to my friend as well about the situation and actually what happened, and told him, wow, that was a very interesting conversation. I don't think it went too well. And he ended up responding with another audio message just saying, oh man, sorry. Well, yeah, normally they're not like that, but I do remember when I first started with them that they were, and so maybe I just broke the exterior. Well, here's the deal, is that they are used to just saying it like it is. Not all East Coasters are like this, but it's just the way that generally it seems to be the case, that they just tell it like it is, and they don't beat around the bush. So I was even telling my wife, Marissa, about this, and she's like, oh, that doesn't sound like a bad conversation. It just sounds like you guys, he wasn't fully aware of how it could help his business, and and he was just telling you what he felt. She's like, I'd rather have that than some, person from, the South who's going to be nice and friendly and tell you what you want to hear and then not respond, right? And I thought to myself, yeah, you're right. I never would have thought about that. I never would have thought that was the case. So what in my mind was a bad conversation actually seems to be a pretty good conversation because we didn't waste that much time. It ended up being maybe a 20-minute conversation. Didn't waste that much time. I know now what it takes to sell this person. They want my buddy on the phone, right? They want my buddy on the phone. They want to know specifics of how they can use these virtual assistants to build out their franchises and other things. But they want my buddy on the phone to be able to explain those specifics because they trust him. They trust him, and they want that trust to be transferred over to me, right? So it's not a bad conversation. It's just a very different conversation that you would typically have with somebody who's going to just tell you what you want to hear because they're afraid to tell you the truth. So why is this important? A lot of the times when we are communicating with other people, whether it's the people that we're communicating with, we want them to tell us what we want to hear and to be kind and to be very respectful and to be, we want them to beat around the bush, right? But with people who are in positions of power, or they come from locations that are very, very blunt, a lot of the times they get things done a lot faster. And they make stronger relationships and stronger friendships and weed out the bad ones because they're willing to say things bluntly. Not mean. They're not being mean. At no point was he mean. He communicated very clearly. Right now, the things that you're saying are not specific enough for me. Even though they're specific, they're not specific enough for me. And I want my friend on the call. I want our mutual friend on the call so that I can trust you. Right? I want my friend on the call so that I can trust you. Because I don't know you from Adam. I don't. And I have a lot at stake in this. And a lot of the times we beat around the bush. We make the decision not to be upfront, not to say it like it is, to prolong things because we're afraid to say no, right? We're afraid to say, the person comes to the door selling us something, we sit there, listen to the spiel. I'm not sure. I don't know. Let me talk to my husband. Let me talk to my wife. Rather than say, no, I'm not interested. No, thanks. No, thanks. No. I don't need a vacuum cleaner. Thanks. And we waste time. That precious time sitting there for 30 minutes knowing that we're not going to buy this thing, or if we do buy this thing, we're going to have buyer's remorse, and if we have buyer's remorse, we spend the time to take it back. So we've literally lost hours plus have a ton of anxiety along with it. Rather than just saying, no, I'm not interested. Or I'm interested, but not right now. Call me in 2 months. Call me in 3 months. Right? So what's happening now that because you've been beating around the bush, in fact, trust me, I'm the same way. I have one situation with my real estate that I've been beating around the bush, and come this Thursday, I have another meeting with my property manager, and I need to not beat around the bush. I need to say, this is what I'm willing to do. This is what you need to do, or else I'm bouncing. Okay? It's business. It's the way it is. So, what's the thing right now that you're doing where you're beating around the bush and you're taking up too much time because you're not willing to say yes or no? Find that thing now. Take a look at it and say yes or no. You can say no, but call me back in 3 months. Or no, call me back in 6 months. Or yes, but I'm not quite ready right now. Please call me back in 2 months. But do something that gets it off your plate and off your mind. All right, this is Dean Soto, founder of prosulum.com, prosulum.com. If you want a systems and process virtual assistant that can totally duplicate you, go there and get a free 30-minute consulting session, see if it's right for you. You can also go to freedomin5minutes.com, sign up for our mailing list there, and get 7 free never-before-heard episodes exclusive to the mailing list, and we'll also have some exclusive things coming this year. All right, this is Dean Soto with Freedom in 5 Minutes, and I will see you in the next Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast.